You are looking very smug with yourself. So just in case you don't know, when we, as we're about to go live and the countdown time is there, we can see each other, but we can't hear each other. And he's doing all of this tomfoolery, which really makes no sense.
Don't be silly. I'm a very, very serious person. I'm sitting here looking at the camera directly, waiting for the countdown. I don't do anything.
You're usually a very serious person, but you're very playful this week. It's great.
Oh, there you go. See?
Yeah, exactly that. Why are you so playful today?
I don't know, to be honest. It's good to be playful and happy with everything. And I'm enjoying wearing my top of champions.
There it is. I was waiting for that. I thought you could have said something like actually serious, like, oh, because you were telling me just before one of the new crypto coins that you recommended for the guys on the investor course, it's almost doubled already, right? So that would have been a good reason, not because you've got a stupid Liverpool shirt on or hoodie.
Yeah, I know, but we have to have fun with the small things in life, mate.
Fair enough. And that's why we have got people live tuning in. We've got Con in the house. Evening all used to love countdown with Molly. Have no idea if you're drinking again, Con, or if I've missed something there, but it's great to have you with us, my friend. Kev V is in the house, Andy McAlpine, and Slav. Again, hello, crypto people, with the first comment. So we've got people live on Facebook. We've got people live on YouTube. We haven't had a comment yet from anybody on Share Vision, which is a new streaming platform that we are also broadcasting the show on live. So if you're tuning in on Share Vision, give us a shout out. Be the first one. Make history. Now, you may have seen in my email earlier to let you know about the show or the announcement in the Facebook group, how do we pick a coin? And I read a news article earlier today, and I take them with a pinch of salt these days because I know a bit more than the average bear, shall we say. Obviously, I've been around you for enough time that I should start picking things up via osmosis. The top 3 altcoins to look out for 2022. And I'm going to come back to that because I know there's a lot of people wondering about Bitcoin. So we're going to jump into the charts. We're going to mix things up. Jump straight into the charts for Bitcoin to see what's going on with that. But we're going to take a rain check on those top altcoins. And we're going to pick Andy's brain today about what are some of the things that he looks for in a coin, and maybe a little nugget or two about where to look for some of the big burners for next year. Is that fair? Is that good? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy. Let's do it.
Perfect. Also going to do a few more shout outs while you get your chart ready. Claire, good to have you with us, Claire. She's live on YouTube today. Nick Paps is in the house. Great to have you with us, mate. Andy said he was waiting for the countdown. I missed that bit. And we got Brendan in the house. Great to have you with us, my friend. And yeah, thank you for the comment. So let's do this. Bitcoin price prediction. I think you were pretty spot on with what you said last week. Let's see what you think is going to happen over from the next 7 hours to the next 7 days on Bitcoin. What is the lowdown, please?
So, I did a video. If you haven't watched it, guys, I recommend you watch it. Which was a few days ago. I was looking at the futures market because it's quite interesting to look at the futures market because institutions trade it. And it's quite useful to know where the kind of key levels are. And on that video, I kind of identified various different things that, are slightly different as to what I'm going to do now, where, 50,000 is very, very plausible before, the buyers might step in. And now I've kind of just brought this up. Now, ordinarily, I'd kind of get rid of these lines to make this a little bit simpler for people. But I'm going to keep them in because I think they're quite useful. And I'll explain some of the things that I'm looking at and why I think Bitcoin potentially will go down to this zone down here before some serious buying comes back in. Now, of course, this is just technical analysis. This is just based on probabilities and what I see right now. The markets can do something. They can do anything. But right now, there's quite an interesting little development, and I want to share it with you right now. So let me get my pen out. And there's a couple of things that I want you to make note of. that are going to be important. So one of those things is the 50 moving average, which is the red line. Okay, so this is a very, very common moving average that people use and institutions use. And so we want to know where the market is relative to that. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just remove the drawings. We'll keep the indicators on. So let's remove the drawings and just clean it up a little bit. So you can see here quite clearly, this is the red line. Okay, and so what we want to see in a bullish scenario, we want to see the price above that red line. And when you're kind of below it, the next level you're looking at is the green line, which is the 200 moving average here. So if you find the price in between the two, this is kind of a phase where it's almost like it's part consolidation. It's part, we're not in a strong trend anymore. We are in a in-between, right? And it's trying to find its feet. So there's kind of a battle going on between the bulls and bears. And that's where we've kind of find ourselves, because we've basically cleared this red line, this 50 moving average, and that completely opens the door to go in and testing this 200 moving average here. Now, for those that are my students and are looking at this and understand how the fibs work, they'd also be able to see something else here. And it's very, very interesting. So these are the current Fibonacci. And we have basically got a situation where the market is essentially doing an A/B. So if I just show you, it's easier on MT4, but this is basically our current A/B. Okay, market goes up fast, consolidates, tries to go up fast. This here is called our fade zone. Okay, so our students know that. And what that means is that there's a high probability chance that in this box, the market is going to go back to this red line here. It's 38.2. In fact, it's a 90% chance. Okay. Now, just to kind of be transparent with people, the 90% chance is based on data that is in other markets as well as cryptos now. So this is not just based specifically to Bitcoin. This is overall, if the market basically enters this zone up here without going back to this red zone, there's a 90% chance it's going to go back to the red zone first before making a higher high. Okay, and ultimately going to this target. So what's interesting about that, guys? Well, have a look. That 38.2 is exactly where our 200 moving average is. Now, the other thing that's important here to understand is that the 200 moving average is important just by default. But it's actually also, in this case, it's important by the fact that the market is actually reacting. So you have 1, 2, 3 scenarios where the market comes down to the 200 moving average and actually reacts. So by default, people look at the 200 moving average as a level of dynamic support. And by the fact that the market is reacting there, this to me looks like the ideal zone to start initiating your buys again into Bitcoin. So that's only half the picture, by the way. We haven't finished. So let's talk about something else here. So let's go back over here and have a look at something. So the market did this over here, right? What's it doing, guys? You can just shout it out in your living room, wherever you're watching. So it's making higher highs, higher lows, right? So look at that. And then this low gets taken out right here. We jump up, we create a lower high, and then bang, the market goes down. Now, what's happened here? The market is making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high. Look at that. Can everyone see? This low has been taken out. This low has been taken out. Now, here's the thing that you want to kind of watch out for here. Are we going to get a dead cat rally? So basically a rally that looks like it's going to, go, the market's going to go back up and then potentially push back down. That's a possible scenario. And we'll kind of explore something there. The other scenario is that we just go down from here and potentially test that this level here, and then we can look at potentially buying them. Okay, but this is also a plausible scenario, and I'm going to show you how to prepare for that. So let me show you a couple of things here to prepare us. There's one thing that I want to know, right? The last time we did this, so if it is going to pull back, let's have a look and see what happened last time. How did it pull back? Well, it basically, if we take the high to low, here's what it did. Okay, so we want to know, where did it pull back to? So we have, if we have this kind of move up, it went back to this orange line. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw our fibs from where we are right now in case we do go back. And I'm going to mark down two levels. The 61.8 and the orange line right there. This is the zone that you have to look out for. If Bitcoin rallies, okay, this is where resistance might come in. So don't FOMO in here. That doesn't make any sense. If you're average buying it, fine. You can start to buy here. That's not a problem. Or you can try and wait for the better price. We can't guarantee it's going to happen because this is Bitcoin, guys, and anything can happen. Something crazy gets announced and suddenly this analysis doesn't make any sense anymore and Bitcoin's up again, right? And it's done that. So, you know, we can't predict the future, but what we can do is we can definitely make good predictions based on probability and then react. So now this could happen, right? We could push up to here and then still fall and go and meet this 90% trade. And what I also love about this zone as a buy zone is, let me put this horizontal line in here, guys. Now, what do you guys see? I'm going to make this a double line. Right. Can everyone see that this is a really, really nice reactive zone here, right? Look at the way the market, even here, consolidates in that zone. Even here, reacts as resistance, breaks through, fake breakout. Look how it comes back and then goes back there. The market likes this zone. What zone is that? It's the 50,000 to 48,000 zone. Okay. I'd imagine looking at this analysis, guys, you're probably now thinking, actually, this looks more probable than it going higher from here. That's what I can see. And we can also connect our trend line. Look at that. So now you've got a potential move into this trend line, into this block, and then this becomes the ideal buy zone. Okay. Now, we've seen what's happened before. Am I expecting that? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do this, right? Is it possible? Of course, anything's possible. You can't be, that's why we say don't be over leveraged. You know, don't bet all your eggs on this and like don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you have to be prepared that this is a game of chess and the opposing player is going to do whatever they can to win at this game. So we can't predict what's going to happen, but we can make good decisions. And so buying a little bit here makes a little bit of sense. Buying here as your main position can make a lot of sense. Of course, if this then breaks this, now you're starting to get worried, right? Now we're starting to get worried, because I think this here is kind of my, well, this and a fake breakout here. This is kind of my, well, let's call it up to here, the 618. Yep. Right? That's what I would say, up to here. If we start to break through this, now would be concerned. That's when my concern would come in, and concerned in the sense that, yeah, this is no longer a bull market, and the market is likely to just consolidate lower. But we can't plan, we can't trade that, we can't invest in that until it happens, and we have to be prepared that that's not going to happen, and we're ready to push higher. Okay, so that's what I'm preparing for.
Cool.
So I want to do one more thing, Gavin, if that's okay. Very quick.
Sure.
Yeah. So one last thing I want to do here.
Actually, before you go there, let's just check in with everybody, seeing that they're keeping up, because this is,
make sure they give us some likes.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we'll stop here.
This is gold, a professional trader giving you these professional zones, and we've only got 5 likes and hearts. That's ridiculous for the amount of
No,
people
I'm going to
that we've
stop,
got on.
mate. I'm leaving.
I think you should. Throw a diva hissy fit. However, whilst people are coming to their senses because they're just bamboozled by your Bitcoin knowledge bombs, that's all it is. We're up to 7. Come on, guys. At least double figures. Otherwise, we are going to go off air. However, so we've got 2 scenarios right now. The first one is that we have a rally. It goes up to that 63, 65 mark and then drops back down. But obviously that's only valid until if it breaks through that resistance and then forms support, then we don't know. It could go up to 100K. We don't know. But that's where that validity of that theory is, right? Then the second theory is, and we don't know how it's going to get there, but it comes back down to the 38.2. And that obviously has got more confluence because it's got the 200 EMA and we've got that really nice trend line there. That gives us our 3 checklist. And that, if it gets there, would be a higher probability, lower risk investment point, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll show you the next step as well. But the thing that you want to think about now, so I've given you the breakdown. So you should now you've got really useful information now. But the next step for you is to say, okay, well, how do I plan this? Like, how do I make money from this? So the reality is that, yes, you could buy it here, but for me, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, even if it does indeed rally up to here, because you're kind of buying in the middle of nowhere. And it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin just pushed up and went to there, but it doesn't quite make sense. Now, if somebody was buying down here, what I like about here is that if we were here in this block, that you've got a really so if this just happens like that, right? You've got a really natural place where you could be thinking about placing your stop, right? This is more for traders. For investors, yeah, it's fine. It's great. It's a great place to sort of start adding your position in. But for traders, you could literally let the market come down and you could just place your stop there. I mean, if you want to be a bit concerned, some people would go even tighter, right? But it depends what your target is. Like, we're not going to get into that deeply now, but the great thing about buying at this kind of zone is that you can go in with a very low risk and make a lot of money based on the fact that you've got the perfect entry. Now, the more conservative approach for those that think, oh, I don't want to buy it when it's falling down because I'm nervous that it's going to keep going down, right? And we have people that feel like that. I'm not one of those. That I love buying when it's falling. That's kind of when I jump in. And sometimes Bitcoin is crazy and it will just run through my stop, and it can happen. So it's a certain way of trading which is kind of high risk, high reward. Here's what institutions are partly doing, like from what I've been reading. They're not bidding on the limit. They are bidding at highs right now. A lot of institutions are not sure where the floor is going to be, and they're actually putting buy stops in higher rather than putting in limit orders lower. Because they don't want to get stung. I mean, they're playing with millions, billions, depending on who it is. So here's the thing that you want, if you want to have a conservative approach. I've referenced this block here. Now, this is going to be slightly different. It's going to change potentially because I'm taking this high to low. But this here is an area of interest. And so if, let's say this market goes up and goes here, and let's say there's a lot of interest here for selling, right? And they're trying to sell it, but they lose, and that happens. Well, this block here becomes the perfect buy block now. Mm-hmm. So you can either just jump in because you're now free to go, or what a lot of people will do is I'll stick a limit order there and then and buy it up. So they're buying on strength. So you don't have to sit through all this drawdown. Obviously, it means you're paying a much higher price. Okay, you're paying 68K instead of potentially 50K. So that's the cost. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here, Gavin, because I know we don't want to take up the whole session just on Bitcoin, is I'm just going to quickly plot my fibs. So we have an A, B, C, D, and then we have a current A, B, C, D. So we have an A, B, C. The market's pulled back to its 38, and the target, according to the Fibonacci, is the red line. Look at where it is right now. Wow, how amazing is that? That's around 48,750, guys. And that just looks so plausible. Like, take that liquidity out, take those 50,000 orders, because that's such a key level. Just like take them out and then bounce. You know, like almost like there'll be people buying at 50,000 with a tight stop, and I could just imagine it sort of just liquidating them, going to this resistance point, and then potentially bouncing and going higher. But from a trading point of view, this is the beauty about trading. You can make money just trading this and not worry about the long-term view. So if you put a buy order here, for example, now this is not investment advice, I have to say that, because people do crazy things. They listen to what I say and then they'll go put their mortgage on it. Like, you know, I can't guarantee anything. But if you did put a buy order here, there's a high probability you're going to get a really nice bounce. And that's all you need as a trader to make money, a bounce. So like, let's say you've got two guys, trader, investor. Investor buys. Okay, great, it's bounced. Brilliant. Andy was right. Oh, actually it's gone down. So you're now losing money. Trader, great, it's bounced. Target hit, out, banged. So neither is right or wrong. I'm just saying the trader can be nimble. He can get out and take his money and then use that money for something else. Okay, maybe Black Friday shopping, who knows?
If they're smart. If they come to London Trading Institute. But no, I think that's it, guys. Hopefully that's given you some good insights. Keep an eye on this, take a screenshot, or you can watch the replay and take a screenshot. And I would recommend that you just plot this stuff on your own charts, stick some alerts in, and and then you'll have to adjust this. If this obviously breaks the low, then this will be slightly different. But it just looks at the moment that it might just go down, so it probably go up. That's just what Bitcoin does. Wise words, profound words about Bitcoin there. I reckon we should check in. Let's do an update on this and see where the price action goes over the next couple of days.
Yes, we'll jump in and have a look.
And if you guys are about, that's awesome.
I'll stop screen share.
I think we should. We've still got less than 10 likes.
Right.
Ridiculous. For that level of breakdown, Kev V knows what's up. Amazing insights as always, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
We don't care about words. We just care about likes and hearts, Kevin. But I'm sure you're one of them anyway. But just saying it as it is.
We do care about words. That's not very nice.
Only on Valentine's Day.
Kevin, I appreciate you. Kevin's always very polite. Whenever I post something in the Discord group, and he's always thanking me. So I do appreciate that.
The only problem with Kev is that he supports Tottenham. But apart from that, we're golden.
Well, Tottenham, yeah.
Not sure who this is. Facebook user, please identify yourself. Been a while. I teach at 1 p.m. So it's always hit and miss if I'm able to watch live. We would love to know who you are. Please register on the StreamYard link so that we can see your photo and your face. Another Facebook user. There's some naughty people in the group today. So Bitcoin done. Let's check in and see where we go, because there's a couple of options there. Okay, we do like words. Bloody awesome analysis. Thanks from Eleanor Jones. Eleanor, good to have you with us.
It's been a long time.
It has. It has, yeah. Great to have you with us. So that's been done. That's been ascertained. We are there with Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about a few other things. So give us your breakdown of the last week from a professional trader and now throwing in the flavor of a professional investor, and maybe some of the differences. How have you viewed the last 7 days in crypto world?
Yeah, look, I think one of the important things is, like, when we're looking at the markets and like everyone's saying, oh, everything's red, it's not the case. It's about understanding there's some things are trending and some things are in red. So at the moment, the crypto market in general are in red. But for example, if you've been buying NFT, metaverse type cryptos, you'd be up now in the same period. So, so I think one of the important things especially when you're trading, but also when you're investing, because a big part of it is kind of understanding when to move money around. And so, for example, with Bitcoin, when you look at this chart, if, for example, we got a rally right now, okay, let's say you're long Bitcoin for the long term. If you got a rally up to that 65K, and then you saw some signs, some signals that actually it looks like it is going to repeat and it is going to go lower, what you could do in that moment is you could say, well, are there any trends that are developing that maybe I'm better off buying instead of having my Bitcoin, swapping them around, and then maybe set an alert. So if Bitcoin clears 70K, then move back into it, because it's only a 5K movement, but a 5K in Bitcoin is very small in terms of percentage. So you're not really leaving a lot of money on the table. So you can just get back in. But if you do that bit right, you can really do very, very well. But yeah, I mean, I've been buying some NFT gaming type cryptos, and they've done very well, and some other ones that have done very well. But of course, on the whole, the portfolio has gone down since Bitcoin, because everything is linked to Bitcoin, and I've got a big, quite a lot of holdings in Ethereum as well, and obviously Ethereum's retraced a bit as well. So, but then there's other coins that have just absolutely killed it. Crow being one, for example. That's been a great, and that's kind of when Eleanor first started out. I think we were talking about Crow, and it kind of didn't do much for a while. But this is a great thing. This is the power of cryptos. When you buy a good project, you stick with it. We were earning interest on it, stuck with it, and now it's completely exploding. And that's the thing that I think for most people, it's the patience. I was reading. I like to read forums and what people say, and I was kind of looking at what a lot of people say is that somebody particular about Crow said, "Oh, it's lucky I had it locked because I would have sold it." And just because they staked it and they didn't sell it, but I guess like you look at something, it's not doing anything, you sell it, and then obviously that's when it 10x's or 100x's, and so you have to stick with. If you've got good projects, you've just got to be patient. You just don't know when they're going to go. You just have to stick with the plan, and eventually you do get paid.
And what you're saying is new to a lot of people, because they just think you buy it and hold it and leave it. But there's another layer to this, guys, that more and more people are starting to get wise about. Yes, there's the trading element. You can do that as well. But if you invest and you pick a coin, pick a great project that A, you believe in, and B, is going up, and you can stake, or a few other things that we talk about from time to time, you're actually making money, or you're making an APY on top of the gains that your coin's actually making. So you're getting the double whammy. And this is now where people are really starting to open their eyes to. It's a small group at the moment, but it's starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's fantastic. It's super exciting because it frees people up out of centralization, should we say. And I think that's one of the bigger goals of this. We won't use this time now to go into that conversation again, but it's a really, really interesting subject, which you just touched on. Some people might go, what's staking? How do I get interest? There's interest on crypto coins. If you want to know more about that, we've got some free training. Watch the webinar, and we've got an amazing Black Friday deal for you as well. We've got Black Friday deals. We're going to bring them to you. So that's our little shameless plug in the show. But seriously, guys, start looking at investing, getting interest and staking. And there's other things like master nodes and even mining, and doing all of that together is just you got geniuses and people like Andy that are studying this stuff 24/7. So find someone that knows what's up.
I like what you just said there. We've got geniuses and people like Andy. Oh, cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Saying it as it is. Saying it as it
Things
is, my
are
friend.
stupid people like Andy.
And if he can do it, then why can't
Exactly.
us?
If I can do it, anyone can do it. That's the point he's trying to make.
But you say that openly, like when we first started doing these shows, like you're not some kind of silver spooner that went to Eton at 14 and you're like, you could have gone to MIT at 11. You're just Andy, aren't you?
Exactly. I'm the man of the people.
A man of the people, exactly that. So look, let's jump in. Oh, come on, Slav. All right, we'll give him a little compliment. It is a little bit genius, but it's also a lot of damn hard work and putting the hours in on the screens, which he is the first one to acknowledge that is what he does. So look, let's get into this. How do you find the coin? What should people start to look for? Because the report that I read, and I love reading some of the reports, it's great, but there's there's a lot of interesting reports, should we say, out there. So top altcoins to look for that are minnows, right? Solana and Luna were in those top three, and another one you like called Waves. They've already had their 50x moment or more. And people are in the mainstream are going, oh yeah, these are like the little coins. How can people start to look? What can people start to do? And maybe we could do a little bit of a breakdown if we've got time at the end. Let's pick one of those and see which one we think is going to do the best out of those, maybe. But how can people start looking at filtering out coins and projects and some of the things that you would start to look for?
Yeah, it's a long process, which is why I now share that information with our investor people, with people in the investor course, because a lot of it is there's a lot to it. So, like, what makes a good project? Well, firstly, the most important thing with anything is use case. So, if I can, I will kind of read everything I can get hold of, like whether it's news, forums, articles, Reddit, Twitter. I'm subscribed to multiple things, and I'm always just gathering information. But as you know, there's a lot of information. So it's like, okay, something that stands out, and then the thing that I always ask myself is, what's its use case? Is the problem it's solving big or small? Is there a competitor? Is it better than the competitor? What is the team behind it? So, for example, there'll be some projects that I'm looking at now that have got people that have experience working at a high level in Google, in Microsoft, in Facebook. Well, you'd like to think if you've got a good project, good use case, solving a problem, can do things better than something that's already there, even if it's in the same space, and has a solid team behind it, there's value there. There's value, but it's not necessarily value that people realize. So that takes a bit of time. On the other side, the other thing that you have to look at, because realistically, we know a good project's going to give you a very good chance of success. But we also know that social sentiment is a really key part of something having demand. And so that's why we see Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and these types of investments go up parabolically because there's a lot of social interest. So you have to look at that as well. You have to bear that in mind. So if you compare the two, that's great. Like if you compare the two where you can have a great project with great social sentiment, that's the perfect kind of combination. And then it's about value. What is its market cap relative to its peers? How much can it grow? And then assessing again, and then obviously we have the knowledge of the technicals, which really helps. So, so normally when I'm kind of doing my research, like I'll have like a maximum price that I'd want to pay for something, and then I'd have an ideal price. And obviously the ideal price comes from the technical analysis that I do. But even if you buy it just as is, the fact that it's a great project, it just means that you may need to be a bit patient if you don't time the market perfectly. But the great project is likely to go up in value. So you may be unlucky, right? So you might invest in something and we go into a bear market, and so everything kind of gets sold. That's just what happens normally, with some exceptions. But generally speaking, you know, if there's a bear market, most things are going down. So, but then you have to understand, actually, this is a valuable project, and it's only being sold because everyone's panicking and fearful, and that's why it's going down. So you have to look at that and think, actually, this is a really great opportunity to buy this at a cheaper price if you have the funds. So there's those sort of things. Now, one more tip that I look for is how many users has that platform got, and is it increasing? Is it in an uptrend? Because that is telling us that actually people need this service. That's one of my best tips. You can find, it takes a bit of work, but that's one of the things that I focus on. So I look at, are the number of wallets increasing? Are the number of users increasing? And how is the price relative to that? Now, if the price has been flat, but the users have been exploding, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in that coin because it means that the price is lagging, but it's inevitable it's going to catch up, right? And that's also important. So it's like, if you imagine, like in simple terms, imagine, you know, I don't know, I'll give you a silly example, but like, imagine like you stood in front of Sainsbury's and you saw how many people were going in every day. And then all of a sudden it was 5 times the amount, and you realize they're going to make a lot more money because they had some sort of promotion, but the price stayed the same. Nobody knew it, right? Nobody knew that Sainsbury's had, because they haven't reported it yet, right? They haven't reported their earnings yet, but we know it's going to happen. More people going in, they're going to increase their profits. And it's like this, if like there's more users of a project, it's inevitable eventually the price is going to go up. So that's also one of the kind of key things that I look for. And you know, I think it's, yeah, there's a combination. You have to understand risk. You have to understand when something is small. And, you know, projects like Solana, like you said, I do think that they do have a lot more growth in them. You know, it's still behind Ethereum, but like you said, it's unlikely that it's going to be like 100x return from here. Not in any kind of quick succession, let's say. You know, so that's something to kind of, but again, it's to do with having a balance, right? So when you're investing in Ethereum, like, why have I got quite a large investment in Ethereum, whereas I could easily go and research some coins that could do a 50x or 100x for me? Well, because part of my portfolio needs to be stable. I need to know that I'm in something that, yes, it may not 10x or 100x, but I know it's going to grow. It's highly likely it's going to grow. It's too big almost to fail. So you have to have a balance. Otherwise, like, you know, otherwise you kind of could be at the roulette table and just put it all on red and hope that it lands on red. So that's kind of like, that's why we always say, do good risk management on anything you invest in, and then you'll be absolutely fine. And so projects then don't become a burden, but at least when you're investing, you know you've done your research. And I put hours and hours and hours of my time to find projects, and sometimes I will swap one for another, or I'll reduce my position in one and increase it in another if I found something that I think is a better investment. And you have to do that sometimes. You have to learn that sometimes you have to, you know, if you're holding a dog, then you have to eventually get rid of. So I did say before, hold on to your good projects, but there's a point where if they haven't developed, you have to make the decision, is it worth me keeping my money in this, or should I be moving it along to something else that maybe is about to go, and following the trends, I guess.
What would be a way that someone could do that? Because, you know, I've been very open about that For me, my lane is the crypto investing and catching these moves. It's awesome. Whereas someone like you trying to model what you do, where you're trading and you're investing, and then you're getting out, you're setting your trading alerts. I use the trading chops that I've learned from you to get in at really good prices. I don't get it right all the time. Of course, I'm still learning. It's within my first year. But for me, I know now what I'm using those trading skills to do. Whereas if I was to try and model you, you're kind of moving stuff over. If you're seeing an alert and seeing a price action, you're on the screens and you have that mindset. What can someone do who's relatively new? Obviously, in the training that we do, we're sending out links to your emails. So don't worry about that. Just check your emails for the training, because Andy goes through risk management, how to balance low risk, medium risk, and high risk coins in more detail than what he's just said then. But tell us, like, what's something that people can do where they're not going to be necessarily having the trading skills to be able to do that? How can they kind of navigate this?
I think the biggest thing is that you need to really dedicate a lot of time, and there's no kind of easy way of doing it. Like you have to kind of get really engrossed in this and, you know, make it a big passion to spend your time researching, reading, seeing what is noise and what is actually relevant, reading the white paper, and or at least the website. Go to the website, and what I like to do is I think I mentioned it before, but I like to use what I'm investing in if it's possible, if it makes any sense at all. So even if it's just, even if it costs me a little bit of money, I want to try and understand something, like, because if I like using it, once I've understood it, eventually I know other people are going to start liking using it, because that's what we're trying. This is early days. So, you know, we've spoken about DeFi, we've spoken about the transformation from traditional banking to new way of banking.
Yeah.
But that's only theory, and you have to start looking at, and of course there'll be developments as time goes on. But whatever is out there right now, for example, like, rather than just be like, oh, I'm just going to buy this coin because it sounds good, I like to say, okay, well, let me use it. Let me read what's on the website. What's so good about this? You know, like when you're going to choose a bank, like in the traditional sense, how do you choose your bank? Just question, I guess, right? Like, because there's so many options. Why go to Barclays or HSBC or versus a different one, right? I guess there's a process of things that you think about. It could be because Barclays offer you, I don't know, payment trackers or something. I can't remember what they do, but like you can track all your expenses. They have a special feature, right? And maybe a different bank offers you something else. But the most important thing is, or maybe their app is really good. Maybe their online platform is really good. So
maybe it's the interest that they're paying on your savings account.
It could be. But the point is that if you kind of use what you're investing in, you'll really appreciate what you're investing in, and it will help you hold on to something when maybe fear kicks in. So I think that's also, you know, I think that's also important. Like, if I'm honest, like, take Ethereum. Ethereum is a great project for different reasons, but it has its limitations, right? I mean, those high gas fees, we all feel them. Like when we're trying to transfer a Ethereum coin to this coin and we're trying to swap it. I mean, the guys that have been doing this, they really feel it, right? And, you know, oh my word, I only want to invest $200 and the gas fee's $200. Like, how's that going to work? And you get, that's a problem. And then, you know, actually there are some solutions to that. And then you think, well, that makes sense then. That's why that is a good investment. So you could use a bridge, for example, using Polygon. So that's what I do. And then I used it and I thought, okay, well, now I know why it's a good investment, because that really solves that problem. And realistically, most big players want to work on the Ethereum network. Now, on the flip side, transferring money like Ethereum to a different platform versus transferring on the Solana platform network, I mean, it's just like chalk and cheese. Like, I mean, I sent from one exchange to another using Solana, and it's there within a few seconds almost. And I'm like, wow, that is so quick. And most of the time with Ethereum, I'm sitting there thinking, God, have I done the right address? Where is my money? Like, you know, so it's just, you know, by the time it kind of goes through. So again, this is using what you're investing in, and you understand actually Solana does have some real good benefit. That's already, I can feel that benefit because I've just experienced it. So I think that's, I guess the best way to put this is like get engrossed, like, you know, go on Reddit, go on forums, go on YouTube. If you want to do all of this stuff, if you want to get good. I'll be honest, I don't know if you can do it any other way than the way I do it. If you want to be very good at this, which is full immersion. This is what I do most of my day. Aside from this kind of stuff and mentoring and trading, it's pretty much, this is what I do. And it's a lot of hours, but I enjoy it. I think the biggest thing is that I enjoy doing it. So you've either got to be doing it to make money, or you do it because it's really interesting. And for me, it's the latter. And then obviously the money comes with it, but it's actually because I'm really interested in what the future is going to be like. So it comes from that space. And when it comes from that space, you can get really good at something.
Great knowledge bombs again. Great knowledge bombs again. How are you doing for time? We've got about 13 minutes left. We've been talking about Solana. Have we got time to jump on the charts and try and see what's likely to happen with that?
Solana, yeah, we can have a little look. I haven't looked at it for a while, but
just while you're getting that up, Con says, funny you say that, Gav. I'm with the same bank since however many years. That's obviously double digits. All because they are offering 17.5% at the time. Wowzers. That's in Australia.
Yeah, that would
have been quite a long time ago, but 17.5%. Wow. Very long time ago.
But Con's got billions in there.
That's true. Right. That's true.
That's why he gets preferential treatment.
So let's have a little extra bonus chart time. Let's see what. So this is one of the coins that people are predicting is an altcoin. If you don't know what altcoins are, look at altcoins, look at L1s, look at L2s, and do your research on that. But this is one of the major players in the altcoin world. So Andy, take us through this and what you think is likely to happen with it.
Yeah, so one of the things here that we can see is that the market is, you know, if you compare it to Bitcoin, as we said before, this is above the 50 EMA here, which is a good sign. You can see here we kind of tested it here and then we held. I'm kind of looking at this market at the moment as a bit of consolidation. Like you can see the volume is really light here relative to what it's been recently. So yeah, but it's holding up quite well. We've got the next move up takes us up to 282 on the daily chart. Let me have a little look at see what else we can see here. So I'm just gonna, because we know the fibs now, what they look like. Have we? Yeah, we've already pulled back. So let me just get rid of this. And we can just see if we can find anything interesting. So it's kind of, I guess, yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a reaction on these two lines here. So if it's going to stay in consolidation, this is kind of a good line to have in your chart. Like if it's not going to be breaking higher anytime soon, if the whole crypto market is going to stay in a range, if Bitcoin, for example, stays between 60 and 50 till the end of the year, then it's likely that this market will potentially stay somewhere here as well, not do much. So I would kind of keep an eye out on these lines here. Otherwise, I think we said 282 was the next level up. Let's just plug that in. Yeah, to be fair, that looks like that could be the case. So yeah, I mean, that looks like a decent upper target, maybe for a trade. If you can get in at a good level, something like that could happen. Let's have a little look at the MACD here as well. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. Oh, sorry, I had it on there already. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that's kind of what you want to see. I mean, the market's just consolidating, but the MACD's going back towards this zero line. That's bullish. I mean, you can see with, since the MACD has gone above the zero line here, we were kind of priced at $42, $43 at that point, and the MACD has stayed above the zero line, and it's, you can see here the market came back close to the zero line here, and it held, and then the market took off again. And so we're doing the same kind of thing here. The market is coming back, nice quiet volume, and so you could be looking at potentially a move higher. I'll tell you what looks like a decent opportunity to me, considering the 50 is holding well, considering we've got this channel, and considering we've got
nice price action there, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. And what you could also do is you could maybe look for a low test at the 618 of this move here. The 618 is actually there, so it's about 207. This is where typically the market will, if this market is going to go higher, you'd expect it between these two levels here. That's generally where it holds. So in fact, even up down to the 786. So between 198 and 207, for me, looks like a good buy zone. And you could do this as a tight trade. You could try and get it up to that D, like there, and possibly stick your stop there. Now, if that gets taken out, then I think we go lower, possibly back down here or something, back to the 200. But right now, for me, I think this really does represent good value between 207 and 198 to potentially target 280 odd. And with a tight stop, that will give you a really nice reward to risk. I'll just have a quick little look at the 4 hour as well, guys, to see if there's anything else that I need to see there. Let me just clear this up. Deep pullback. That takes so, or the other option is this target up here, 260. That's like again, that makes sense. Deep pullback. That could be your first target, 260 pullback. So again, let's have a quick look at what the fibs are saying. Might need to go to the hourly chart. No, we can do it here. I think we've got AB here. So two options. I'll do 4 hour chart here. So I'm going to do the down fibs to see where they complete. That one completes at 193. There. So that's one buy option. That's a value point. I'm going to just flick to the 1 hour time frame. That's slightly lower, by the way, than what we said. I'll go back to it. Let me just quickly do it on the hourly chart, and I'll tell you what a sort of different point could be. Or is it the same? No, 200. So 200, that looks better to me. I think that's a decent level. And look, if you just kind of connect, maybe this, you've got this kind of trend line there, maybe. Well, actually, we're right there now. So maybe we don't even get that. But it is kind of in our zone, isn't it? If you have a look here, it's basically pretty much on that first red line. So anywhere between here and here. So you could scale in, but that looks like there's a decent support there. What time is it? What have we got? Let me just do one last thing, guys, and then we'll stop. So let me just see. Let me see how that's. I'd like to just see where the reactions are in the market. Come on. Yeah, that's better. That's perfect. So you can use something like this and buy a breakout. So if you don't feel confident buying as it's going down, look at that. You've got the stochastic here as well on the hourly. Let's see this one consolidated. Yeah, I mean, they haven't, well, this one was okay. Yeah, so realistically, I think anywhere from here to where we said is okay to start accumulating. So up to as low as 193, I'd say, because of the 4-hour time frame. So as long as your stop is below that, I will put this block from here to 193. I think represents good value, and you could be, if you kind of look where the support comes into this market, it's here. So I'll make this color red. So you kind of want to be below this in terms of your stop, right? Look at the market here. Look where it likes to buy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 buy points there. Okay, so if you're going to take something like this on, and you're buying somewhere in this block, for those that want value, you might want to try and get it as low as possible, all the way down to 193. Mm-hmm. For those that just want to get in, you can get in from here, or for those that want momentum, you can wait for this to happen and then buy it like that. There's loads of different options, but if you want protection, you kind of want to be below this block here. So give yourself a little bit of breathing room, let the market do its thing, and hopefully you catch the move. So you got 260, target 1, 280, target 2.
Now, here's the thing. Let's go back to the daily chart, please, mate, because there might be a lot of people new here, and they're like, okay, well, I can't get the trading skills straight away. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's a lot of new people that have been on the course and they've done really well. That's another time, another conversation, and I'm sure you've heard us talk about that and seen people post about that. But if you're new to this and you're like, okay, well, look, I don't want to risk much, but I want to invest, you'll make maybe 30%, 35% if that moves up to 280. If you get in around 211 or 190 or 200 and it goes up to 280, 40%, that's not bad, you might be thinking. But the investor game and the reason why, how bad's my maths? Oh, it's not too bad. That's all right. Thank you. I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. Now, the point I'm making is one of the reasons why Solana is quite infamous and a lot of investors love it. Let's go back to, where was it? This time last year? Let's clear the screen up and say, this is the game you want to play as an investor.
What do you mean?
Well, let's go back to where was it? Yeah, look, just at the start of where that AB is. What was the price there? It was less than $20.
Yeah, down here. Yeah.
Even left, if you were in this early enough and you knew about it and you believed in it, or you bought one of these pullbacks. So as Andy's saying about his trading skills and analysis, you can use that to buy into these projects. So imagine if you got in just to the left where that retracement to the 200, either that one or to the right in August.
You mean down here?
Next one across? Yeah, there. Even there, yeah. Right?
No, of course. I mean, look, we can. There's a lot to. I mean, the thing that when you're investing, I guess the thing that we don't talk about so much, and we're going to do some more videos throughout the week anyway. So on this topic, but you know, the thing is like to make the big life-changing gains. Sometimes you're going to have to sit through stuff, and it's about knowing when to take profit. Because, like, you know, if you bought it here and then this happened, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm going to be a millionaire by next week. And then this happened, and then you're panicking, but I'm going to sell it, Dan. And then you miss the big move. That's 100% happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's part of like having a long-term view and making a plan as to like, because you can take profit as it goes up. You can make those decisions. But yeah, this is part of the game. And this is what makes this challenging, because there's so much psychology to it, because suddenly, you know, your $1,000 is now worth, you know, whatever, $60,000. And now suddenly it's only worth $10,000. So you've made $9,000, but you're feeling like absolute crap because you had 60. So this is the game, and it's part of its psychology, and that's why, you know, you have to mature as a trader and investor to get those kind of gains. Because how many people would have bought here? I mean, you can be honest in the group. How many people would have bought this here and potentially still be holding it, having seen these drops all the way up here? Because if you did, you'd be extremely happy with yourself right now.
And there are people that have done that. So
there must be, but it's going to be a minority. 100% it's going to be a minority. Most people wouldn't hold it from buying here.
Interesting. Very interesting. And that's the other side of the game. So you're hearing about people, if you're new to cryptos and you're hearing about people making six figures overnight or over a period of what seems like overnight compared to how much you got to slog your guts out at the office job to get a fraction of that. That's how it's done. They get in early on these projects, but we go more into that in the free training. I'll post a link in that. Check it out. I think you're going to be very happy that you did, but it's just start looking, guys, start looking at charts. When you're seeing news, when you're hearing these coins, go and look back at these charts and see what it did. What would you do? Like Andy said, what would you have done if you'd have invested a certain amount and you're up 50K? Would you have had the kahunas to sit through it and the conviction of the coin, or would you have come out? And these are stuff. These are questions.
I think that's why. But sorry to jump in. Like what you asked me before is so relevant to this. Which is, if you have done your research and you haven't just gone onto Twitter and just followed somebody who's randomly posted about the next 1000x coin. Hey guys, buy this, it's going to do 1000x for no reason. You've no idea what it is and you just buy it. If you haven't done that and you've actually done your work and you're like, do you know what? This is a solid project. I don't care what's happening now. I know I have a 3 to 5 year, and that's what we tell the guys that are investing, you know, on our investor program. Have a long-term view, like have a 3-year view minimum, because you're buying stuff like Solana that, you know, how long has it taken to get here, right? From here, okay, that was like, well, this one's been a relatively quick one, but for a lot of projects, I mean, that's a year or so. A year is still a long time in cryptos.
In crypto. So, I wasn't even in cryptos when this came out.
Well,
it just blows my mind.
And I guess like, if you really understand something and you think, well, I can see why this is going to make a difference, why it's good, then you won't be so, you know, you won't have that, you won't kind of fall victim to what FUD, as they say. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that's important, and that's why, like, the ones that do hold, as you said, are the ones that understand what they're investing in, and that's why I do my very best to create detailed reports on everything that I'm investing in, because that I think that really helps. And maybe the guys that are with us on the investor program can comment on that if that helps. Obviously, there's times when we have to just post because markets don't wait, but I really do believe that if you understand the problem something is solving and you really get it and you can understand its unique selling point, you're much more likely to just be more accepting of market pullbacks, which is not, you know, it's not necessarily because of the project, it's just relatively to the market, right? If the market's pulling back, it just kind of drags everything down.
Yeah.
Then you're much more likely to hold, and that's how you're going to become, you know, very, very wealthy from catching big trends.
And that's the game that I've been learning to play, understanding that and not being reactive and just letting those emotions come up. It's been a real great learning curve for sure, sitting through a couple of those. Gary's saying You once said sleep for 5 years, then take a look at your spot. I always keep that in mind before.
Well done, Gary. Gary listens. I like Gary. He's from Liverpool, but he's on the other side. So we can't be too close to mates, but he's wise. He's a wise man.
Fair enough. Well, look, guys, we're going to keep you updated with the Bitcoin stuff, but just to give you, we just wanted to give you a bit more information, because if you are going to kind of just go at your own road, completely great, fine and dandy, awesome. Hope you hit some home runs, but just be careful of how you're listening to the information, how you're acting on the information. And we're going to try and help you as much as we can in this forum. So thank you very much for your time, guys. And
let me
thank you, Gary. Speaking sense. Speaking sense. It's not just me that's giving you stick about the hoodie. But yeah, keep an eye on the group. We're going to give you more information this week. Like I said, I'm going to post some information in the comment section if you want to watch more, get some training, and find out about our Black Friday bonanzas, which are crazy, literally crazy this year. Andy McAlpine saying 5 to 10 years is my game. He's actually
Andy, I hope that's years and not minutes.
or
Believe
months,
me, most people are in
depending
this for 1 to 2 minutes. Like, oh my
maybe
God,
months. You see some of the coins that we talk about in this video. It's nuts. It literally is nuts. And Andy's story from when he was FX trading and very, very dubious about this whole crypto thing back in the day. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting
one. Back in those days. Not really.
Now you're just being very patient. 5 to 10 decades.
Excellent. That is brilliant. You'll be fine.
On that note, let's go. Let's bounce. Right, guys, thank you very much for your time. Like I said, have a great day. Have a great rest of the week. Hope you are nice and productive and you've applied some of this knowledge, turned it into wisdom. Take action on it, guys. Don't just sit on it as knowledge, let it store in your brain. Take action on it. Let it turn into your own wisdom. And we wish you the best of luck with your crypto gains. Anything you want to say before we leave, mate?
No, I'm all good. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.
See you guys.